Militarily Speaking, episode 85, Veterans of Foreign Wars.
This episode, we talk with Lynn Rolfe, Programs Director with Veterans of Foreign Wars.
Welcome to Militarily Speaking, brought to you by Armed Forces Bank. This is Tom McLean, and I'm here with my esteemed co-host, Jodi Vickery. I'm the military retail exec for Armed Forces. Jodi Vickery is the prestigious Chief Digital Officer for the company. So, welcome.
What adjective you're going to slide in there?
Was it a good one today?
It was good today. You were well behaved.
I have a plethora of them.
Plethora of adjectives. I don't want to know. So yes, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you listening and learning all about our guest, Lynn Rolfe with Veterans of Foreign Wars. Lynn, I'm going to take just a couple minutes here and share your bio with our audience, and then we'll dive right in to learn everything we can about VFW. Lynn Rolfe was appointed Director of Programs in September of 2015. Prior to coming to the VFW, he was employed by Northrop Grumman Technical Systems.
That's a tough one, right?
I know. I had to, yeah. Rolfe served in the United States Army for 9 years. Thank you for your service.
Yep.
Most definitely. As a military police officer, among his assignments, he served as company commander of the 300th Military Company and deployed in the 2003 and 2004 timeframe in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom within the Sunni Triangle and MSR-1. His numerous decorations include the prestigious Bronze Star. He received his bachelor's degree in sociology from Pittsburgh State University prior to commissioning as a second lieutenant in 1997. He also received a master's degree in business and organizational security management from Webster's University right here, kind of in our backyard at Leavenworth, Kansas. Rolfe is a third-generation VFW member, and his younger brother is currently serving as a U.S. Army Major in the Kansas National Guard. So please pass along our thanks for his service as well. He served in elected and appointed positions at the post, district, and department or state levels, culminating with his election as Department Commander 2013 and 2014, and Western Conference Chairman in 2015 and 16. He's achieved All-American status as a District and Post Commander, served on the National Security Foreign Affairs Committee, National Bylaws Committee, National VFW Iraq and Afghanistan Committee, and he was appointed National Aide de Camp in the 2008-2009 period, and National Deputy Chief of Staff in 2009 and 10, and again in 2010 and 11. He is a life member. I'll learn a little bit about what Dale likes to do in his spare time here. He's a life member of the Military Police Regimental Association, a Master Mason, and member of the Military Order of the Hootie. I need to know what this is. I don't know what that is. Ducks Unlimited, Pheasants Forever, and a board member of the Patriot Outdoor Adventures.
That's a lot going on.
There's more. He was inducted into White Castle Cravers Hall of Fame.
Wait a minute. Is it the White Castle?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Like the little hamburgers with the holes in them?
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to talk about how many you've eaten in one sitting before, Jodi?
I had never had a White Castle.
Oh.
You're missing out on money right there.
Should I tell you my number?
Okay. Do I get one meal?
18.
Oh.
Right now.
How do you get to be in the White Castle Cravers?
I think I've already joined by default.
Wrote an essay and got selected across the country for all the essay submissions.
That's awesome. And then to wrap up the other things here, got distracted by that one. He's named the 2011 Leavenworth County Humanitarian of the Year. He's a Gold Legacy Life member of VFW Post 56 right here in Leavenworth, Kansas.
In our backyard.
Where he lives. In our backyard. I drive nearby right through Leavenworth on my way home to Topeka every day.
You don't have to tell us your physical address in Leavenworth, but have you been to our bank either inside the gates or on 4th Street?
Yes, on both. Yep.
Nice.
Old bank president.
Don, maybe?
Don Giles. How about Robert Arter, General Arter?
Yeah, so General Arter and my dad.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of family history, and the bank is a special place, right, to us.
That's awesome. And going back to Army National Bank back in 1907, but he was on our board. We actually named an award after him that we give to our quality associates that deliver exceptional service. It's called the General Robert Arter Client First Award. And he's going to live with us forever. And
absolutely,
he's still 95, 96 living in Leavenworth. And he's a national treasure in my opinion.
Well, welcome, Lynn. It is an honor to have you on our show. overlap of our circles here, which is awesome. I want to say thank you for being with us. I think to get started, we've got a bunch of, I think, really detailed questions, which we'll dive into. But if you want to just start by giving our audience a preview of big picture level, what is the VFW and what is it about? What's the macro level mission of the organization?
Well, thanks for that. And of course, thanks for having me. And it's extra special, being a Leavenworth boy,
Yeah.
military transplant, as a military brat, when people ask me where I'm from, I don't hesitate but to say Leavenworth. They're like, well, you were born in Leavenworth? I was like, no, I said, my dad was stationed there 4 times. I was stationed here twice. So I went to high school. Leavenworth is my home, what I claim. So, and then I left my pant leg up when I'm introduced on stage and say, the warden expects me home by
There were some prominent people that have lived in Leavenworth.
So, discussed 1899, the founding of the Veterans of Foreign War. We were founded because of the bonus army and the government did not deliver on their promises to take care of our war heroes. So we banded together with the Spanish American veterans, Philippine insurrection veterans, and one other group, but bounded together to educate our government on the importance of military service and them honoring the contract. And it's really crazy how 125 years later, we're doing the exact same thing to this day, every day. That is our bread and butter, is to stand up for our military and our veterans that have served our country, raised our right hand, and us standing up for them. Essentially, their union, because, those that are serving don't have a union, but we're able to step into Congress and educate them on what we as veterans need from all generations. So that is really the founding of the VFW. And of course, with IRS, we had to add in the community service aspects to be able to justify the 501c19 congressionally chartered organization. So day to day, our great organization gets veterans their benefits, especially as they're transitioning out of the military, to make sure that they are receiving their disability payments. Spouses, widows, Gold Star kids, our NVS, or National Veteran Service staff, our healthcare side, does God's work with ensuring veterans get all the benefits that they're entitled to, staying up on the laws, and especially after the most recent PACT Act that was passed 2 years ago from toxic exposure that affected every generation of wartime vets through my current generation. So I'm really proud of the organization and what way it was founded, and we're still 125 years later doing the exact same thing.
I think as people go to your website, and I've always been of the understanding that VFW has always just been there. It's been sort of like a national fixture in this company, but when it spells out exactly what you've done to establish the Veterans Administration and the National Cemetery System. It's almost like you said it, whether it's a union or whether it's the origin of supporting veterans, all roads lead back to VFW for that.
Absolutely.
Because of the 125 plus years, the Accountability Acts for Veterans Access, the Blue Water Navy Veteran Act, the PACT Act, as you mentioned, GI Bill for the 21st century, Agent Orange. You're always looking out for the best interest. And I'm sure advocacy and issues affecting our military are rising to that level where you take them to Capitol Hill and you lead the charge, right?
100%.
Which it's a great segue to my next question. So then again, name recognition, but I asked 3 people today just walking around our building. I said, what's VFW? Some people got 2 words right out of the 3. Some people got 0. One person got 1 because I'm a military banker. They put veteran in it. But as far as the recognition and the branding that you do too, that a lot of people don't know what value added services you provide to that community. And I think if you have to do a 30-second commercial or longer, what are the value added benefits to VFW? You have 1.4 million members, right? So talk about sort of what that value add is, so that the general knowledge and understanding, to Jodi's point, at a high level, is we are looking out for you.
Yeah, and we covered the first two most important was standing up to Congress and making sure that we're upholding the contract when we enlisted or commissioned in the military or healthcare. And then last in more my lane in the organization is our community involvement of helping local vets either through financial duress, networking, job transition, employment, and then mental health, mental awareness, that where the rubber meets the road is the local VFW that knows those local veterans. So when they need help, they come to us for assistance or befriend another veteran and be around other veterans and family members getting together is a huge, the camaraderie aspect is huge. Building that tribe that's already out there, but connecting it and then going out and helping others.
You mentioned financial duress, and one of your just sort of like the pillars or the foundations of what things you're trying to attack out there and make sure that you've got them covered. What do you see out there for financial duress?
I would say it's education, that our veterans tend to be, for the most part, when they transition, underemployed and have come from, a certain lifestyle. And they're so used to being told what to do, 24 hours a day. And then all of a sudden now they got to pay a light bill or, water bill or, those things that a lot of us just take for granted, or much less how do you get a mortgage, or how do you, rental agreements, or it's a lot of it, the education side that tends to get veterans into a little bit of an unsteady state that they might need assistance with, or just something out of the blue happens and they're on, a fixed income, especially if they're medically retired from the military, and they might have a water heater blow up or the transmission goes south, and they're so used to only getting that set amount of money that they can't afford it. So we as an organization will step in and get them some help.
No, we see that here too on the banking side of things as well.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about the advocacy work that you do in DC. It was one of the things that you mentioned as sort of the top 2 or 3 things that are out there for the VFW. Can you share with us what are the most current pressing issues that your organization's focused on in DC or in other places as you're advocating for the rights of veterans and their families?
Absolutely. I'll take an easy one that our government can't get right now is the Major Richard Starr Act. It's for military retirees that when they retire and the VA decides, hey, here's your disability payment, we penalize those service members for that offset of what that difference is from their military retirement pay and their disability pay, that they get penalized and they lose a certain percentage of their VA disability. So we're fighting real hard. We've been fighting since 2019 to try to fix that. It's a small segment. It really hurts those that, you shouldn't get penalized. You should get your retirement. You should get disability. It's a no-brainer, but.
Do you have to have sponsors for that?
Yes. And there's very few right now, but I know we're really strong with Moran because, Senator Moran's on the Veterans Affairs Committee, 100% on board. Unfortunately, I kind of stepped away from the Kansas. You need to come on board and get it actually brought to the floor for a vote instead of just dying in committee every year.
Yeah, which a lot of them do. But how often do you get to go to DC personally?
I used to go about once a month, and the focus has been with our high school students. Every once in a while I'll provide some testimonial facts to our DC staff that does this daily. His background from the VFW fraternal side that I tend to dabble in. But I take high school students. I take 55 high school students every year to DC on a week-long field trip, experiential, and then we get just about $1.5 million in scholarships to those young men and ladies there in DC. And so with those relationships, I go out and visit sponsors and when needed, they still pull me off the bench to go talk to them.
You're the third generation guy. You're supposed to be able to do this with no problem. But back to the DC side, and I'm going to go off script. So you mentioned the 55 students. How are they selected? Is there a process where people want to raise their hand and submit an application or something?
Both the Voice of Democracy programs from 9th to 12th grade and the Patriots Pen is middle school. They're both, well, the Patriots Pen is just a written essay contest that they compete locally. Then they go to, and we call them districts, which are essentially counties, and then state level, and then they come to my level at national for judging. The Voice of Democracy is an or-rated contest. Those of us in this room understand who Charles Kuralt is. Charles Kuralt was one of our first winners. But when I talk to youngsters nowadays, I got to tell them to Google him. So he really got the program, especially when he became really famous and hit the road in his segments across the country and talked about what the program did for him and opened his eyes to DC. So the high school students can win up to $35,000 if they're first place.
Wow.
Down to about a couple thousand. But in that, from the post to state, each level, you're winning $100 to a couple $1,000 in scholarships every level as you move up. So both programs are very impactful, and get to talk about that program a lot in DC and work on partners and sponsors. And
and I don't have to tell you this too, because I'm glad you're connected with Kelly Campbell Goodnow, right? Formerly known as Heart of America Patriot Foundation. Now, what is it? Valor Partners Foundation, right? That she changed her name, and same thing, scholarship for kids that are part of the military community and have that military lifestyle. So I'm glad you're going after the audience that probably will benefit quite extensively from the work that you're doing to give them the opportunity to go to college.
And now to finish the question on the advocacy piece, the second number one thing that's impacted both federal and state level legislation is ever since the advent of the PACT Act, we have discovered a huge market of ambulance chasers that have lawyers going out there and chasing veterans to get them toxic exposure claims, kind of like the late night TV commercials of mesothelioma, those kind of things. Hey, were you hurt in an accident? I can help you. Those kind of things that we've got a lot of lawyers out there, a lot of shysters that are chasing that money from the VA, promising vets all this money. And then they're charging them. They're charging them a significant amount of money to do this.
So are you trying to do like a cease and desist on that and get legislation passed to prevent that from?
Absolutely. Even though it is very defined in the CFR and the law,
right,
that you must be an accredited service officer through the VA. We have law firms that are bypassing and not being held accountable. And we're just asking them to be accredited. And don't think it's fair for a vet to have to pay for something that, hey, a lot of us are already doing for free. And then they're going to have to pay for a long term. If they don't read that fine print in that contract, they could be paying for a mortgage on their benefits forever based on that award amount that they're going to get every month. So we're trying to really fight that. And what's happened is that with our battle in DC, some states have taken it upon themselves to regulate it at the state level, and we've had some success. But we're in a pretty tough battle in state houses because these law firms they're able to throw some money in.
Well, money and lobbying firms and the engagement of organizations with certain names in them, they get a lot of them because of it.
Yeah, it's been a pretty disgusting battle, especially state houses. I've seen it in Kansas and other states. That it's sad, but that's our responsibility to stand up for our veterans. And
a lot of people wouldn't have heard your passion for this unless they listened to the podcast. So maybe this will give them the impetus to go out and act and talk to their leaders in the government.
Crazy part about it too. Never blink, given ever.
No brainers.
Like super common.
I know.
Things
It's sad.
of course we should do it that way.
And then, and of course, the last piece of our advocacy, of course, is standing up for our military and making sure that they're fully funded and keep us safe in our world nowadays. So the national security aspect of our advocacy is huge for us to be able to stand up, because we're visiting our troops overseas legislators aren't over there. They may not have representation over in Germany or, Asia, and we're able to bring those concerns back to DOD and help them.
Is there a process, this is off script, Jodi, is there a process you use when it comes to the legislative priorities? Because there's only so many resources, so many people that can do what you want to advance certain causes that you're trying to celebrate for veterans to get to the finish line. But do you have some leadership group think where you say, with 2025, 2026, these are our focal points, but there's probably so many more that might be pet projects too.
Yes.
But do you decide as a leadership team where you're going?
Well, we propose every year the national staff, those that are engaged in Washington, D.C., propose a bunch of resolutions, and then our states are responsible to come in. And we're actually almost into that time frame now. As we get into June, our states are going to start turning over leadership, and they're voting on their priorities and what they believe in. And once they vote and approve, they will send to us in July. And then at the end of July, we have our big national convention. And much like any of the political conferences that happen, we vote on the way we want to move forward based on what we put forth, what our states have put forth, and get all of the membership to vote and say, okay, this is what we're going to stand for this year and move forward.
What's the number of locations you have around the country? Plus or minus 3%, okay?
Across the world, everywhere we fought, we have a VFW. We're just about 5,500 VFWs across the world.
Jeez. So, I think as people go to those shops or as people get involved in the VFW, brand ambassadorship, which is important to banks, it's important to any industry, right? To be out there and carry the baton and speak on your behalf in any venue. But what does it mean to be a member? And is there what sort of seal of approval do they get when they're a member?
As a veteran of foreign war, you are eligible to join. And once you do join, it's that extra, even though, those of us that have gone overseas and fought, we wish we never had, wish we never have to have anyone else, that we take it upon ourselves as warriors and in combat officers to help fight for peace and help our community. And that's our next mission in life that, I can no longer put on the uniform. So my mission now that I discovered, because I went to the Leavenworth Parade once when I first got out of the military, and it's like, you know what, there's a bunch of, I know what the VFW is. It gives those of us, a new mission in life.
That's a very common theme. We have heard so many guests that wear the uniform and then they transition into civilian life and then they find themselves right back in the middle of the military community because it's family, right?
Yeah. Immediate connection. Yeah.
For sure. So we learned this about you in your bio. You're a Leavenworth resident. You had a wonderful career serving our country as Indian Army, deployed overseas, highly decorated. Talk a little bit about your personal career, if you would, and sort of how that journey led you to the VFW. You just said you were at the parade, right? So maybe there's more to it than that. Maybe there's not, but I'd love to hear your story.
Yeah, actually it is. And I'm sure you guys probably know this name, Colonel Doug Tysted. I owe my old boss, Doug Tysted, my life. And I tell anyone I can, he took a chance on me when I got out of the military to bring me to Fort Leavenworth, since my dad was on staff at the school as the young Iraq veteran. But I was not ready. I was a mess. I was every night drinking, breaking all the establishments downtown, and then I would drive out to my dad's spot out in Easton every night and then start over. My dad and Doug sat me down, and it wasn't much before that first Veterans Day parade. I went and told me, basically gave me a lot of tough love and said, hey, you're going to lose your job. I'm going to terminate you if you don't straighten up, because even though I hit it pretty good, it was affecting work on base, and it was not questionable. So when I saw that parade, I saw a couple other high school buddies that were walking in and followed them in, was invited to a meeting. And then it was about 10 years from, and that was about 05, 06, that just changed my life. Because I found that peace that kept me from making those bad decisions every night and just got me back on. Moved up in Northrop a little bit, and then sequestration hit, lost my job, unfortunately. And I was actually on Armed Forces Insurance Board for about 2 years in Lori Simons.
Yep. We know her well. Yeah.
Yeah, she
Good people.
She took a chance on me also, and knew that we could get out in more trade fairs, talk to more vets that are out there that may not know about AFI. At National Guard conferences and other big types of trade fairs. So she brought me on to help with marketing and be that new veteran that's a long time AFI subscriber. So did that, and simultaneously, I'm moving up in the VFW from the state headquarters. It took over all the states from Kansas west to the Philippines. And this job came up. The guy that had my job previously retired. And I was thinking about moving to the next level in the organization. And I reached out and said, hey, if there's an opportunity, I live an hour or so away. I'd like a chance to help out. So I interviewed, and I've been here ever since, living the dream, helping people every day.
Appreciate you sharing that. I knew there was more to it than just going to a priest.
Sometimes it takes a while, but you end up finding your home, right? And I think Lynn's found the perfect spot. I threw out there that you're third generation VFW. Your younger brother, and Jodi mentioned this too in your bio, is serving in the Kansas National Guard. And that legacy, Leah, talk about the legacy and how you want your legacy to be written.
Hey everyone, we've got something special for our military listeners today.
Absolutely. If you're in the market for a new home, you've got to check out Armed Forces Bank's VA loans. They're designed specifically for you with competitive rates, no PMI, and no down payment required. And as an approved VA lender with VA certified underwriters, all decisioning is done in-house, which creates a more streamlined experience for veterans.
At Armed Forces Bank, about 75% of our team is affiliated with the military, so we know what it's like to serve. We've been supporting military families for over 100 years, so we've got your back every step of the way.
Whether you're active duty, a veteran, or a reservist, we are here to make your home buying process smooth and stress-free. And with our mortgage service guarantee, we'll close your loan on time or pay you $1,000.
So if you're ready to move into your dream home, head over to afbank.com or visit a branch near you. Armed Forces Bank, serving those who serve.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC, subject to credit approval. VA funding fee may apply. VA loan qualification guidelines apply. Third-party closing costs apply. Owner-occupied property only.
I cannot say how much it meant to me when my brother passed me in the military. He actually just graduated from the War College in Pennsylvania. I gotta update this my bio. He's now at the same level as my dad. So I think my legacy is I made his life miserable, and he was able to pass me up because I made things so tough for him.
It worked.
Yes, absolutely. And he's three beautiful young kids that I don't have kids myself. I'm engaged.
Congrats.
And watching him, I think my legacy will be that not just the crazy uncle, but someone that my nephew and my two nephews and my niece can look up to as someone that's impacted the community just a little bit.
Kind of the role siblings are supposed to play for each other, right?
Yeah, take the back seat. But he sounds competitive, doesn't he?
Man.
I want to talk about a little bit of the core values, the mission, the vision of VFW. I don't know if you could share a little bit of insight into those pillars with our audience, and maybe a view into how the VFW has evolved over the years. I know when you were describing the kind of big picture view of the VFW at the beginning of our conversation, you talked about how the things that the VFW fought for at the beginning 125 years ago are in some ways the same today.
Yeah,
but I'm
might
sure
be a different
that
topic, but it's the same.
ways or the means in which you've done that as an organization might have evolved over that period of time? Give some insight into that, if you would.
Yeah, actually, that is in being the young post 9, and even though I'm pre 9/11, still kind of considered the 9/11 generation here at the office, that we are doing the exact same stuff, just a little differently. And one of the biggest examples that I'm most proud, and this comes back to my relationship with my brother, that I get a lot of intel from him on what he's dealing with his soldiers, the younger troops nowadays. And I had seen there that there was a lot of vets turned back to what we used to do in the barracks and play video games. And it is, sure you guys know, that is the largest growing demographic and business that's out there right now. And I wrote a couple of research papers on the benefits of gaming and mental health for veterans specifically, of course, based on everyone's research on every demographic, because we're all the same. We just had different experiences. And really proud that I've started a group of about 5,000 veterans that game every night. And I'm able to engage them online with resources and just answer questions. And, they hear about something in the news or some fake book message that said some fake stuff. We're able to help clarify. So still the same stuff, but we're doing things that who would have thought? And I hear it all the time from the old timers. They're like, I can't believe you game. And I was like, well, I don't game. But I'm on the gaming network and I'm talking to vets. Every morning I log into this channel and I have coffee while I'm reading emails here.
That's awesome.
Office and just talking, camaraderie. So it's, and you guys know since COVID, I think COVID really helped us transform the organization more into technology real fast to be able to adjust. And we were one of the only organizations that were able to keep the doors open in DC, and because we had the processes already in place to be able to handle the VA issues that were with COVID. So really proud about that, how we're doing business.
You know what? My wife and kids play Fortnite.
Oh.
What does your husband play?
I don't know. He plays games on his phone.
He doesn't tell you what games they are? I could not care less. Yeah.
They're like Dragon Slayer, Adder.
But I'm wondering, maybe they should listen to this episode to learn from you, Lynn, that maybe they could be productive during the time that they're gaming and offer some tutelage, guidance, resources, and just knowledge about some topics. But I think they'd rather just play the game, and that's all they talk about.
Well, it was a great way for grandparents to connect.
That's true. Yeah.
With their kids over that 2.5 years.
Hey, Lynn, when you wake up every day, you don't have to tell our audience everything you do in the life of Lynn, but because you've been doing this about 11 years now, and you're focused on programs, you're focused on getting into the schools, probably to be the ambassador and educator. But what does it look like for you? It looks like you travel often.
Yeah, probably 2 or 3 weekends of the month I'm out at a conference or convention or something. But really, my fiance will kill me for saying this.
Say it.
Well, we got a great hunting dog, Boomer. I take the late night duties because there tends to be more wildlife out at the lake, because I live out towards the east and private lake out there in small cabin. But we'll get up early in the morning. Of course, most times the dog gets her up, and emails start right away because I've got VFWs over in the Pacific areas, that are so far ahead of us that I tend to just play catch up on those so I can get those done before I even, get in a truck for the hour and 20-minute commute here, and get ready, watch the news, pray to God that I-70 is not bogged down.
Jodi does that every day.
Yeah. I hate the highway. I don't do a very good job, so I take call, but still, to get all the way across over here to Kansas City is pretty significant, going towards the city in the morning. And then, till 5, 6, here at the office all day, responding to phone calls, emails, like normal corporate work. Try to dedicate at least an hour to myself on either go for a walk or
That's good.
work on some research or some kind of strategic plan for what I'm trying to accomplish with our team here in programs, and then drive home. And I'm usually answering all my voicemails on the way home until I get to my dad's farm, pick my dog back up, because it's just like, and I'm not making light of this, but when you see one of the families or families passing their kids off at the gas station.
That's what it feels like with the dog, right?
Yeah, I go to my dad's farm, I pick my dog up, go down the lake, take him for a walk, and whole time I'm emailing till better half gets home. She works for a sheriff's office in another county. Just want to make sure I threw that out there, not to get wrong.
Get a plug for her. Yeah.
Yeah, and when she comes home, it's I try to turn off, but it is tough. But
It is.
I'm trying to get better, and it is what it is.
If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. It's been about 10 episodes since I said that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thanks for giving us a glimpse into your personal side of things a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to come back to, we talked about some of the programs and the focus areas of the VFW. If people go out to the website, which they use VFW.org, I'll just say, what will they find there? How should they think about going there to figure out what programs and events apply best to them and maybe their personal needs?
Yeah, I think it does a pretty good job on if you're interested in advocacy, you just click on the tab for advocacy and assistance, and then if you want to get involved in the community, click on community, and I'll drop down on different things like getting into the school, talk about veterans in the classroom, or us recognizing our teachers, and of course the scholarship programs for the youth. So, across the top, very easy. And then we're trying to find a post locators there. And of course, a lot of us don't even know what those things are anymore, and start using TikTok a lot more to be able to get the message out or just find stuff.
So will we be able to find you on TikTok?
Yes.
Oh, now I'm jealous.
Do you have a TikTok account?
No, but I need to be there.
I have an account, but I literally don't.
I don't have an account. I know. And donating and volunteering, like we're talking about your website, there's more information. It's pretty navigational friendly out there.
Absolutely. It's in the buckets of what we do from advocacy to community in general, what we do. And of course, to contact us if you just have any following questions, can only reach out and they'll come to my desk for sure. Or 9 times out of 10, I'll call you. Unless it's just a matter of a resource and I'll just send you a link.
I would encourage people to look at the core values, the mission, and the vision, because what we've talked about today, you've covered the full gamut, especially when you look at the vision about respected for their service and get their earned entitlements, recognized for the sacrifices. That's a great mission. And what was the other thing it said?
Perpetuating the memory of our dead and our fallen.
No, but it says no one does more for veterans, right? It's like in all bold on your website. And that's probably one of the biggest messages that I want our audience to hear, is that you advocate to the best interest of their well-being. So yeah, I'm
all veterans.
I'm off my tangent. Should we go to the military minute? Or do you want to see
Okay, but I would ask, is there anything else that we haven't got to ask you about the organization that you really want to make sure our audience hears today?
Well, one thing specific to anytime I can to attack the stereotype of being an old man, white drinking club or geriatric gin joint.
that was Jodi's lifestyle, right? And
yeah.
So.
That, some VFWs do have a canteen. That isn't what they're there for. That was started back in World War II as a bonding opportunity to get together and network. Yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of stories told, but it was more to help each other, through coping. But those buildings are truly should be, and it is very franchise based. If you've been to one VFW, you've only been to one, because each one is totally different. Each one's got a different identity based on the leadership. I'm really proud of Leavenworth because we're right here for Leavenworth. We have a lot of instructors from the college, a lot of contractors involved, a lot of retired military. And our post shows that here in Leavenworth is that identity. And we've got a lot of younger troops too from the disciplinary barracks and some of us that have moved back. So I'm really just give us a chance and try not to buy into that hype and interview. And we need more. I mean, can always use more help, but with the times that we're in, the number, the delegate strength, when we say 1.4, Congress listens to that when we say, hey, 1.4 believes in this. So, we come down from 2.3 about 25 years ago. We're seeing another upward spike with guys my age here, veterans my age that are retiring or just decided to hang up and focus on life in general. They have a little more time or disposable time to give back. And then just a personal note, really proud. We did start up, the last piece of mine personal is we started the Buffalo Soldier chapter of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated there at 411. It's been defunct for a few years. And tonight I'm actually going to Lansing High School to present $1,000 scholarship to a senior with that fraternity. So really, really proud about that. That bunch of us military have reinvented that chapter to get it going again.
Well, that sounds like a pretty great way to spend the evening.
Okay.
With that, I'm clear.
Well, I think I appreciate you being here. We do want to play our military minute with you before you go. But what I think is great is I think so many people have heard Veterans of Foreign Wars. They've heard VFW, but hopefully today gives them a glimpse into the broad spectrum of things that the VFW is actively doing.
Agreed.
They may not know that piece. So hopefully our podcast helps those within its reach a little bit. But not to delay, we have a game that we like to play called the Military Minute. And we're going to ask you to humor us.
Lynn knows because it's on his queue to watch our episode. So he may not know it today, but he's going to know it.
It's really not that hard of a game. But our guest on the last podcast were Canines for Warriors. And so we always try to sort of kind of tie the questions. Sometimes we don't do so well with that. But
I'm to blame for that.
They're a pop culture question or tied to our guest. But last time it was tied to our guest. If you know the answer to this, you can 100% tell us, or you could just wager a flat out guess and we'll see. But the question for them was, what breed of dog worked as scouts and messengers during a U.S. Pacific operation in World War II? Any guess?
I say Bernard.
That's what Tom gets, which is weird because Tom wrote the question, so he knew the answer and he still guessed.
Google could be wrong though, and Lynn could be right. We'll see it on TikTok later with Lynn.
Write that down.
Sadly, the answer, according to Tom, and hopefully our audience got this right, was a Doberman Pinscher.
Ooh.
Which, yeah.
See, now you can see just by the way they're shaped, you can see that they got pointers, right?
They just look fierce.
They're scary. Yeah. They're like 5 chihuahuas sleeping on my head.
Very right. So, if you're in our audience and you put Doberman Pinscher for your answer, watch for your name to drop as the lucky winner at $50 for you and $50 for a charity of your choice.
Like VFW.
Like BMW. And this week's Military Minute, so you can't answer this one because we're going to tee this one up for our audience. But it's a question about Military Appreciation Month, which is, of course, the month of May. And the question is, in what year was Military Appreciation Month made official? And which U.S. Senator championed that formal designation?
So this kind of ties back to Lynn, just because it's got something to do with Washington, D.C., with a senator. Yeah, military appreciation. Yeah. We should say, Lynn, what are you doing for Military Appreciation Month?
So don't answer, Lynn, if you know, but I might have guessed the person. I don't know that I would have ever guessed the right thing. So if you know the answer or you're great with Google in our audience, make sure you enter your best guess when this podcast drops, and you too could be selected to win $50 for yourself and $50 for a charity of your choice.
By the way, Lynn, you can just give us blink your eyes twice if you knew the answer to that.
I do. I didn't think it was him. I do know. But it makes total sense.
You just did a teaser by saying it's a him. So, all right, that's okay.
We just narrowed the limit of guesses by 50%.
We're trying to make it easier for our audience. All right. So if you enjoyed today's episode, go out to afbank.com and subscribe to the show. Rate us, leave us a comment. Try to be favorable about Jodi, and even if you have to embellish on your favorite podcast platform, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Lynn Rolfe, good job.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
Oh, thank you. You guys are champs. I'm looking forward to going back and listening to the other 84.
You have to do that by next Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, he said something really nice about us. You know how I always want to try to find out if he has connections to celebrity? So maybe Lynn will ask for your autograph.
Oh, yeah. That'd be worth a lot of money. But nobody ever. It was a pleasure to meet you today. I appreciate you being on with us.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Lynn, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Copyright Armed Forces Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All non-Armed Forces Bank-owned apps, websites, company names, and product names are trademarks or registered trademarks of their respective owners. Their mention does not imply any affiliation with or endorsement by Armed Forces Bank of them or their products and services. They are merely used as examples of the many available apps, companies, and websites that offer similar services. Before using any app or website, you should carefully review the terms of use, data collection, and privacy policy. Apps may have an initial cost or in-application purchase features. This information is general in nature and is not intended to be legal, tax, or financial advice. Although Armed Forces Bank believes this information to be accurate, it cannot ensure that it could change. Statements or opinions of individuals referenced herein are their own, not Armed Forces Bank. Consult an appropriate professional concerning your specific situation and respective governing bodies for applicable laws, such as IRS.gov for current tax law. Armed Forces Bank, the Armed Forces Bank logo, and the Militarily Speaking logo are registered trademarks of Armed Forces Bank.